Hey, everybody. It's June, and the Phillies still suck. It's June, and they're not out of the muck. It's June, and we still kind of give a, hey, it's June, everybody, and welcome into the show. The Phillies are 0-1 in the month of June. Yeah. All right, anyway, welcome into the program. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Yes, the Phillies lost again in the magical, mystical month of June. They're still playing bad baseball. They're 5-17, folks, against the New York Mets since last season. Oh my God. Oh man, I'm waiting for rock bottom. I'm waiting for rock bottom with the Phillies. Every time I think they hit rock bottom, they grab the old shovel and they just keep on digging. And they're like, whoa, we found new bedrock. That's it right here. This is it. Nick Nurse got introduced as the 76ers' new head coach. Nobody in the media had the gall, had the cojones to ask him what it's like to, as a nurse, to take over for a doctor. Now, one person, when that's all that's anyone's been talking about. Anyway. And the Eagles had OTAs. One interesting tidbit from the Eagles and OTAs involving a good friend of this very program, and we'll get to that as the show goes on. And also, after watching the NBA Finals, now everyone wants – it's really – I think about this line in sports a lot, and it's one of my favorite movies ever, Gladiator, when the lady says to the dude – when she says to her brother Commodus, right? Forget the sister's name. And she goes, the mob is fickle, brother. The mob is fickle, brother. It's amazing how a month and a half ago we were all like, Joel Embiid's MVP, Joel Embiid's great, Joker sucks. And now it's like, Embiid needs to play a lot like Joker. Like that's kind of how we, the mob is fickle. Either way, welcome into the program. Let's start it off. Chronologically speaking, let's start it off with the Philadelphia Phillies, who got things underway at 110 yesterday against the New York Mets and got swept on out of Flushing, New York. First thing, I will say this. My wife had some business in New York yesterday, and she was on a train in the early portion of the morning. And she's like, are the Phillies playing in New York? My wife doesn't follow sport. Are the Phillies playing in New York? And I go, yeah, they're playing the Mets. She goes, a lot of Phillies fans on my train today. And I go, oh, I for whatever reason, I don't know why. That just gave me, hey, good vibes. Maybe something good will happen today. It makes no sense that they're going to have a good day against Max Scherzer. Maybe they will. Maybe they will have a good day against Max Scherzer. Well, we know the end of the story already. They did not. However, in the early portions of that baseball game, the Phillies are actually looking pretty good. They go up 2-0 in the first inning. They get Trey Turner goes up in his first at bat of the game. It was one out. Stott already made it out. He struck out. Trey Turner hits a single down the left field line. Could have been a double. Held it to a single. And then Bryce Harper works the walk. So you got Trey Turner in scoring position. Then Trey Turner shows off the speed and would have stolen third base. Alvarez, the catcher for the Mets, makes an errant throw. It sails over the head of the third baseman. And Trey Turner takes home. It's 1-0. 1-0. Courtesy of a Trey Turner single, courtesy of Trey Turner taking off to steal third, courtesy of a throwing error. It's 1-0. How great is that? And then Bryce Harper ends up taking third on that errant throw. Nick Castellanos at the plate hits a sac fly to center field. They're up 2-0, just like that. Yeah, but blink an eye. Phillies are all of a sudden up 2-0. Oh my goodness! The magical month of June is going to save the Phillies. Okay. That'd be it for the Phillies offense. That would be it. They were done. Max Scherzer would kind of go on cruise control after that. Third inning, Taijuan Walker had some struggles. McNeil steps up there. He gets the RBI single just out of the reach of Brandon Marsh, just bounced right in front of him. It's 2-1. Then the Mets fight back a little bit more in the fourth inning. Of all people, this 8-hole hitter, Canna for the Mets just decides to mash against the Phillies. He now had 6 RBI. After this home run, 6 RBIs. The Mets 8-hole hitter, their 8-hole hitter, takes the Phillies for 6 RBIs in the 2 games that he played in this series. He hits a 2-run home run at the bottom of that fourth inning. It's now 3-2. Go on cruise a little bit more into the 6th inning there. Vientos steps up there with a sac fly RBI. It's 4-2. and that's the way it would end. Alec Boehm, Phillies get some bad news. Alec Boehm is going to be on the IL. So my idea, many people's idea, for who should be the batting out of the 2-hole instead of Trey Turner is now on the IL for some time. I would now move Brandon Marsh to the 2-hole. He's my next guy up there. You know what? It's not that bad. It's not that far of a cry from Alec Boehm, because I still like some ducks on the pond when Alec Boehm is up there at the plate. Considering he's your best hitter with runners in scoring position, maybe you get Brandon Marsh up there. Maybe you put some more speed at the top of the line. I'm not saying more speed than Trey Turner, but certainly more speed than Alec Boehm. Maybe you get Bryson Stott, and then Brandon Marsh is your 1-2 punch. Maybe that is the right way to go with this. Maybe this is some sort of blessing in disguise. Okay, well, we can't put Boehm up there just yet, so let's see what Marsh can do. Last 2 days, I'm listening to Rob Thompson after the game, trying to come up with answers as for why this Phillies team should be better, why they need to be better, how they're going to play better. And 2 days ago, it was the magic pill. There's no magic pill. There's no pill we could take to make us better. And yesterday, it was still more of the I don't know, and it was we got to find a way to play better baseball. How does that go down? Saw some guys, Kyle Schwarber being one of them, Bryce Harper, talking about how this is unacceptable and how they know they got to play better and they got to find that groove. And now it's June, and Bryce Harper acknowledged 2 weeks ago that it's not early anymore. And this is a guy that's only been playing a month. It's not early anymore for this team, as we know. If you're waiting for June, well, 1 day of June's already in the books, and they're still not playing good baseball. I think it's time for something drastic, and it's time for a big shuffle of the lineup. Not a shuffle of the lineup where it's so blatantly obvious where, oh, well, Kyle Schwarber shouldn't be batting leadoff anymore. That's Bryson Stott's job, getting back in the leadoff spot. He got him back in the leadoff spot abruptly, which is good. It was the right decision. Now, a very similar realization needs to be made. And I know some people won't draw this comparison because Kyle Schwarber wasn't at the top of the lineup for a long time when Bryce Harper came back. But I still think that there was either some kind of deal or conversation made that when Bryce Harper came back, that Kyle Schwarber was going to go back to the top of the order. Bryson Stott took that job. I think Alec Boehm first and foremost, but he can't do it now that he's hurt. And I think Brandon Marsh, second and not foremost, have taken the 2 spot away from Trey Turner. $300 million, I don't give a damn. He's not producing. He's not hitting. This isn't just a flash in the pan anymore. This is how he is playing this season. And it's not going to change until you do something different. And we could go back to what we went back to a couple of weeks ago with Einstein's definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. You can't continue to have Trey Turner bat second and expect for all of a sudden some magic wand's going to get waved and it's going to be a 330 hitter again. Something needs to happen. This is a dreadful, dreadful year to this point with Trey Turner. Nothing's going to change unless you change it. We talked yesterday about how this is the first time Rob Thompson has found adversity as a manager. Well, is he either going to show that he is a legit manager and knows what buttons to push, or is he going to show why he didn't get managerial jobs over his previous however many years in Major League Baseball? Is he going to show why under Joe Girardi he didn't get calls and interviews and eventually a job as a manager, or was he just a really good bench boss? What was it? Because now I'd love for Rob Thompson to show that he can respond to adversity. Last year, all he had to do was take over for Joe Girardi. He was not having Joe Girardi was the upgrade. It wasn't so much that Rob Thompson was the upgrade. It was that, hey, that other guy's not around anymore. So, all right, this is your team. Do what you will. What's he going to do to make that, I don't know, talent? What's he going to do to make this team realize that they're better than how they're playing? Because I still believe they're better than how they're playing. Anyone that says, oh, I totally expected this team to be 6 games under 500 June 1st. Okay, really? You didn't have any more optimism than that? You didn't have any more confidence in Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola? This is like career worst starts for Aaron Nola. Ranger Suarez being injured. And then coming back, finally finding his groove in his most recent start here against the Mets that the Phillies squandered, unfortunately. Everybody added to this lineup, or Trey Turner added to this lineup, bringing in Taijuan Walker. I did not expect it to be this bad. I expected this to be really good. It has been Even if I was being the most pessimistic person I could be, it's still worse than I thought. The only optimistic thing that's worked out for this Phillies team is that Bryce Harper came back when he did. And he's played well since he's been back in the lineup. So what is Rob Thompson going to do? And I hate the argument of, well, he's not the one batting. He's not the one pitching. Yes, thank you. So what are you going to do to try to do the thing that every other coach says you got to do? Put your players in a better position. The better position for Trey Turner is no longer batting second. The better position for Trey Turner is like batting 7th or 8th in this lineup. $300 million. What are you going to do? Yeah, but he's not playing like that. And you've given him enough time. You've given him plenty of rope to pull himself out of this. And still struggling. Still struggling. Kyle Schwarber letting that strike 3 go on the outside corner of the plate. It was a ball. All right, let's acknowledge something here. It was a ball. Still too close to take in that situation. Kyle Schwarber is like the kid that really knows the rules while everyone else kind of knows the rules. And he's like, no, that kid, that's not how it goes. And I know that that's a ball, and that's a ball. So there. It's like, well, yeah, but it might not be called a ball. So you should probably take a hack at it and just foul it away. And then you know what? Maybe the next pitch is a hanger. Maybe the next pitch is something you can just smash out of the stadium. Next time we're talking about a different ball game here. So I don't want to hear anything about, well, that last pitch was a ball. And I saw some people talking about it on social media. I don't give a damn. It's awful. There's nothing going the Phillies' way right now. And it seems like the more they try to force it to go their way, the more they sink into the quicksand, to use that old expression. But, like, it has just been rough watching the Phillies so far. June 2nd now. Start a 3-game series with the Nationals, who are nipping at their heels in the NL East. I'd love to see them put some distance between that team and just say, don't stay out of last place. Do me that favor. Please stay out of last place. Let's cross our fingers that that's what they're able to do. One thing I did find interesting in yesterday's ball game wasn't just Brandon Marsh actually going up there and getting you a double and actually looking like one of your few regulars to actually hit the ball pretty well, but the way he patrolled center field was top-notch again. Again, that one RBI that just bounced just in front of him, that was a tough break for him. But Brandon Marsh in center field definitely stuck out to me again. And then Nick Castellanos getting a 3-hit day. And the only time the Phillies were able to score with one of his 3 hits, the only time they were able to score was on a sac fly with him. They scored 2 runs with him at the plate. Neither of them came on one of his 3 singles. It's a funny game, this game of baseball. I don't know what you do with this team at this point other than really start to shuffle the deck, because that's what I think Rob Thompson needs to do, especially with Trey Turner. As far as Taijuan Walker goes, he left after only 74 pitches yesterday. Rob Thompson said after the game that he was just fine and dandy, and there's no worries there with Taijuan Walker. Phillies will be back at it tonight, 7:05 start time in South Philadelphia as they start their 3-game series with the Washington Nationals. We'll take more of a look at that a little bit later in the show. Nick Nurse got introduced as the 76ers' next head coach yesterday. It was actually during the Phillies game. I was flipping back and forth a little bit, wanted to see what the new head coach of the Sixers had to offer. And man, he had a lot to offer. Very interesting news conference. It was about a half hour long. And there's one thing, I'll start on the not so good side. When Nick Nurse was talking about how great ownership is, and if you remember, people we have talked to, Kai Carlin, Rich Hoffman, guys that cover the Sixers on a daily basis, there's a reputation around the NBA that the Sixers have great ownership. I don't see it. They're willing to spend money. That's great. But, like, is there a winning culture here? No, quite the opposite in the Josh Harris ownership era of the 76ers. When I hear that people say they got great ownership, that means one thing. They're going to spend money. Does that mean they've made the best decisions? No, it doesn't mean they've made the best decisions, unfortunately. When I think of this ownership, I think of, spending money, but I also think of an ownership that got pushed around by Adam Silver and the rest of the league. I think of an ownership that after that went through the Colangelos, went through Brett Brown, went through Elton Brand, and now they're with Daryl Morey. And now they're on their third head coach since the process. I don't see the greatness. And he talked about the reputation of the ownership being great. Well, I guess the only thing that really matters, if you're really breaking it down, is the fact that they're willing to spend money. So if you're a coach, you know they're going to spend money to help you win. I guess that's a good thing. Oh, and they're also going to pay you a poop ton of money. So that was really the only thing I heard yesterday. Made me go, I don't like that. As far as the James Harden comment, we'll get to that. As far as his relationship with Joel Embiid, we'll get to that. And as far as what he vibrates on, oh, you betcha. We're going to get onto that too. But one of the big things that was a talking point of yesterday's press conference was Joel Embiid, as you would assume. And it was one of the first questions posed to Nick Nurse about Joel Embiid and his relationship with Joel Embiid, from trash talking to mutual respect to coaching up the reigning MVP of the NBA. Here's Nick Nurse yesterday and was asked about his relationship with JoJo.
You know, as far as the building the relationship, I mean, listen, I think he really competes, and he really wants to be great, and just it's a collaborative effort. Like here's how do you see it? Here's how I see it. You know, let's figure this out, and you know, for me, I just want him to have as much success as possible, and that translate to team success as well.
And that was like a 2-minute answer, but I was so glad that he threw in the thing about team success as well, because I am never going to long for a Joel Embiid MVP award. This year in particular, I wasn't as on board with it in terms of the conversation. I thought he was well deserving of it, but as far as the conversation of Joel Embiid being the MVP, it was not a focal point for me, because it was all about showing that as a team you can make it to a conference finals, and they didn't do that. And then one of the other things that he was saying in that same answer, earlier in the answer, he was talking about this team should be playing tonight. Could be. He did say the word could be playing tonight, meaning they could be playing in game 1 of the NBA Finals. So how do they get there? And making Joel Embiid advance his game offensively, I think really comes down to one thing. It's less scoring and more assists. That's what I think it really comes down to. And when you were watching game 1 of the NBA Finals last night, man, either the comments, if you're watching some YouTube shows after the game, or the tweets during the game, especially from Sixers fans, were about Joel Embiid finding the passing lanes. Joel Embiid being able to be a facilitator like Nikola Jokic. Now, we always wanted Jokic to be a guy that would go over there to Joel Embiid and become a better defensive player like Joel Embiid. Now we want JoJo to be a better facilitator like Nikola Jokic, who, by the way, became the first player since Jason Kidd in 2002 to get a triple-double in his NBA Finals debut. So, yeah, Joker did what Joker does, which is get triple-doubles. Imagine this offense looking similar to what the Denver Nuggets have. Let's just live in this world for a second. That means two things. That means that Joel Embiid is getting that ball at the foul line extended, getting that ball at the top of the key, getting that ball down the post, and creating space that is opening up for a teammate. In this case, let's say it's Tyrese Maxey on the perimeter, in the corner, whatever, Tobias Harris in the corner, and he's able to hit Tobias Harris or Tyrese Maxey for a three. And he's facilitating. Joel Embiid is facilitating, similar to Nikola Jokic. Or, like I said, he's getting the ball down low, and he's able to kick it back out to, let's live in a world for a second where James Harden's actually back. I don't want to live there, but let's live there for a second. James Harden's open at the top of the key for a three. That's the type of thing. Or a cutting Tyrese Maxey to the basket, or a cutting Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid is able to find that. This is a guy that is not going to be leading the league in assists, but this is a guy that if you see his assist numbers double, go from like 4 assists to 8 assists, which is, by the way, not far off from James Harden in the playoffs, then you're talking about a totally different offense. I'm curious to see if Joel Embiid would buy into the idea of him scoring less. Hey, you've led the league in scoring twice, and that's great. But in order to use this regular season as a warm-up to the playoffs and the way we're going to have to play in the playoffs, your assist numbers are going to have to go up and your scoring numbers are going to have to go down. I want to know if Joel Embiid is going to buy into that, because I think that will ultimately make this a better team and have the team have more success, while Joel Embiid won't be getting the accolades of a 30-point scorer, but would be maybe getting the accolades and attention of somebody who could score 25 a night and gets you about 8 assists. Depending on what you're able to bring in the offseason to help the scoring on this team as a whole, yeah, Joel Embiid's not going to be getting the accolades then. He's not going to be getting the fouls that he's been getting. He's not going to be going to the line as much. He's not going to be scoring as much, bottom line. So when it comes to all that, will Joel Embiid be the guy to buy into it? And that's what Nick Nurse is talking about. It's not a matter of changing his game entirely, but it is about changing it a little bit. Because you need to use 82 games, however many games that Joel Embiid plays this upcoming season. You need to use that as the ramp up and the practice, if you will, to the playoffs, because that's all that really matters. Now, the other thing that got brought up a bunch was the second round of the playoffs. How do you get this team past the second round of the playoffs? And Nick Nurse said a line that will, be talked about a lot. And it's already been talked about a lot. It's already got a lot of retweets. It's already got a lot of likes. It's already got a lot of attention. It's already had a lot of smart-ass comments. But here's Nick Nurse talking about what he is coming into, whether it's from the process or it's from the second-round exits. Here's Nick Nurse on how he doesn't really pay attention to what happened before his time in a place. Here's Nick Nurse.
This way, I don't really vibrate on the frequency of the past. Like, to me, when we get a chance to start and dig into this thing a little bit, it's going to be only focused on what we're trying to do going forward. That doesn't matter. Next season, whatever's happened for the last how many whatever years, doesn't matter to me. And it's similar to Toronto a little bit, right? That be kind of a clean slate for me. Just looking forward to how we can get it done from start to finish.
Yep, that's great. I don't want anybody coming in here thinking about, I have to cash in all that was with the process. I have to make it make sense that you had 2 first-round or 2 number 1 overall picks that eventually didn't work out here in Philadelphia, in Markelle Fultz and in Ben Simmons, and I have to make Joel Embiid a champion, and I have to make Tyrese Maxey an all-star. I have to make Tobias Harris a 20 points per game type of score. Like, I have to make sure all this falls into place. I have to cash in of all the mistakes in the past. I have to make them right. I don't want that pressure on him. I want him saying that the new generation starts right now. The new attitude starts right now. It had been a while since Doc Rivers won a championship. 2008. We all know the history, okay? We know what happened in L.A. with the Clippers. Nick Nurse brings a winning attitude to Philadelphia. And one of my favorite things, and it got brought up with the idea of James Harden with a selling point. When he was asked about James Harden, he said, what's the biggest selling point? I think it was John Clark of NBC Sports Philly that asked him about this particular thing. In talking to James Harden, he did say he had a conversation with James Harden. Winning is the selling point. If you want to win, this is a good place for you. If you want that championship, this is a good place for you. If other things matter more at this point in your career, and hey, look, you're 33 years old, you'll be 34, other things could matter. You could be getting the last big paycheck of your career. You already took less money to try to win this year. It didn't work. I don't think too many people could fault James Harden. He's already been an MVP, a scoring champion. We know the history there too. But if you want to win, this is the place to win. The losing culture of the process goes out the window. The winning culture of Nick Nurse, who has won at the NBA level, which matters most, the British League level twice. Yeah, they have a league in Great Britain. And the DG League. He's won there. Now he's in Philadelphia. The one year he had a superstar in Kawhi Leonard, he won a championship. Now he's going to have a superstar in Joel Embiid. And now he's going to make Joel Embiid play like a superstar in the playoffs. He's got to have Joel Embiid ready for the playoffs. He's got to do something with Tyrese Maxey. My man Kyle Newbeck of Philly Voice asked the question yesterday at the press conference, what's next for Tyrese Maxey? And his defense as well. Not just his offense, but his defense. Nick Nurse talked about how they can make him more versatile, like we had talked about with Kai Carlin last week. What can you do with this guy in Tyrese Maxey to expand his game to that of a Jamal Murray, where it's not just driving, it's not just step back threes, it's the big in between game, the mid range game, creating for himself, creating space for others as well. And he has certainly run his guards into the ground over the years. Will Tyrese Maxey be one of those guys? Most likely. If there's one thing I think you can look at with Nick Nurse that's not going to change, how he's handled bigs is going to change because of Joel Embiid. But one thing that's not going to change is how he's going to handle Tyrese Maxey. Oh, Tyrese Maxey is going to play a lot of minutes in the Nick Nurse offense. Defensively speaking, one of the things that Nick Nurse talked about with Tyrese Maxey was how playing against him, he thought he was a much better defender than what people give him credit for. Speed and quickness on offense also helps him on defense tremendously. So that's something that he already has, and it's a good jumping point, good starting point. If you're looking to coach up Tyrese Maxey defensively, is to be able to rely on that speed and quickness. The thing you got to work on is the build, the strength, bodying up. I don't know how much of that Maxey can do with his frame, but maybe that's something that'll be changing over the coming years. But winning is the attitude and the selling point right now for the 76ers, and that's what Nick Nurse brings to the table here in Philadelphia. So yeah, I don't want him vibrating on the. One more time. Let me just please.
This way, I don't really vibrate on the frequency of the past. Like, to me, when
I don't vibrate on the frequency of the past. Is that on a T-shirt yet? Vibrate on that? No, not yet. Maybe we'll get there. And then finally, and this is what's really been making the rounds. This is our friend Howard Eskin asking the question. Second round playoff exits getting mentioned a bunch of times, and Nick Nurse, it's certainly not falling on his. It's not falling on deaf ears. He just knows how important it is to at least get to a conference finals in the city. And then Howard comes in, jumps on him with the James Harden line. Do you want James Harden back in your offense? And here is Nick Nurse on second round playoff exits and the potential of having James Harden back in Philadelphia.
You guys have mentioned the second round to me twice already, and we're going to hit that head on. Like, we know, like, we're judged on how we play in the playoffs. Like, it was the same in Toronto, that we hadn't played that well, and certain players hadn't played that well, and all those kind of things. So the reality is that's the truth. So I would imagine from day one we're gonna talk about that, and that we're gonna try to attack that. You know, we're gonna have to face it, and we're gonna have to rise above it. That's the mentality part, I think, that you're gonna have to take, right? And then there's all kinds of other things, like can we tactically do things? Can we adjust on the fly? Can we improve as the season goes on? And that's you know, that's a goal of a coach, is as you go, you want to keep getting better, and then you get to the playoffs and you're one team, and that's a 2-month-long journey, and you got to be better at the end of those 2 months. And
do you want James Harden back?
Pardon me?
Do you want James Harden back?
James Harden's a great player.
That didn't answer the question.
Well, I would say this is that James has a decision to make, and I'd be very happy if he came back. Yeah.
I don't believe you. All right, let's unpack it. First part of it, second round exits. The guy doesn't want to hear it anymore. Like, he's already done with the second round exit thing. Like, and I love this, and I love that Daryl Morey, of all the things that Daryl Morey said in his introductory press conference thing, or introductory press conference, end of the year press conference, was that it was the only thing I actually absolutely loved, which was the enough of the second round stuff, guys. That's not our focus. I know that's a thing here right now in Philly over a long period of time, even before me. But that's not the goal. The goal is to win a championship. So the second round playoff thing is adorable, but we're done with that. And I know a lot of the fan base feels, all of the fan base should feel that way. But with Daryl Morey, it was saying that, I loved it. With Nick Nurse saying the same thing yesterday, like, enough of the second round stuff. That bar is too low. That's not even my focus. Like, my focus is championships. That was the first part of that. The middle part of that, where he's talking about being ready for that 2-month post-season run, that's talking about load management. And he did mention earlier in the press conference how having Kawhi Leonard in Toronto that year, how having Kawhi Leonard really helped him understand what load management was. And yes, I could definitely confirm beyond the shadow of a doubt that load management was the term because we were using it with Joel Embiid well before Kawhi Leonard was ever even in Toronto. So it's a thing. Having that experience with Kawhi Leonard in 2019, where he played, I think 63 games is the number that jumps out to me. That's not a terrible number. And yes, I know that you guys and everyone are paying your money to see Joel Embiid play. And I wish that there was a schedule that the Sixers could release before the season to be like, all right, here's the regular season schedule, and over here are the games that Joel Embiid's going to be playing. So buy your tickets for these games. I wish that was the thing, but it's not. And ultimately, I just want to see the Sixers have success in the playoffs. I don't care anymore about 50-plus win seasons. I don't care. We've put in our time. We've invested our money. We've spent it. We've certainly made the investment of time with this team. It's time to win the playoffs. So if that means Joel Embiid's playing 65 games during the regular season, I'm fine with it. It's not ideal, but he's a big man. And if you need to give him breaks going into the season, then fine. Maybe it's something that you're able to handle during actual playing time. Maybe his style of play is different. Maybe instead of going hard to the basket, getting fouled, going to the line, maybe he's a guy that's deferring, and maybe he is setting up his teammates a little bit more. Maybe he is playing a little bit more like Joker. It's going to be an interesting thing because even if the Sixers come out early next season playing a different style of basketball, I am going to wonder if it's going to stick. Because you see it a lot of times with athletes where they'll work on something through the offseason, and then they'll do it through the first month of the new season, and then they revert back to their old ways. And I don't know if it's an intentional thing or just this game, let me just get back to be my own little comfort zone, and then all of a sudden they're just down a spiral, a downward spiral. I'm interested to see if they're actually able to keep it going. First off, I want to see it. Second, I want to see if they keep it going. Because I don't think that this team is going to win, not just as currently constructed, but as they are organized strategically. I don't think that they're constructed, as they're constructed right now, is to win. And when I watch Nick Nurse and what he's going to be doing through the offseason, when I watch this team in the early goings of next season, I do want to see a different style of play, where it's less demanding on Joel Embiid. It's still dependent, but not as demanding. And you're seeing more from Tyrese Maxey. You're seeing more from Tobias Harris if he is still here. And one thing I did take away from our conversation with Rich Hoffman, just real quick on that, he's not convinced that Tobias Harris is here next year. Contract or not, no contract. He's not 1 year left or not, $40 million or not. He's not so convinced that the Sixers hold on to him. So that definitely is going to have me paying a little bit more attention to that than usual. Then finally, James Harden. The last part of that. If somebody asks you if you want something, and it's something you really want, you say yes. Do you want James Harden back? Yes. That's how that would go, okay? In the world that you want James Harden back. If you ask me, do you want James Harden back? No. That's where I'm at. All right. Just so we're clear. When he's asked, do you want James Harden back? And he says, James Harden's a hell of a player. That is deflecting. He's deflecting. I don't think he wants James Harden back. I think he wants someone that's going to play defense. I think he wants someone that's going to listen to his style of play or listen to his strategy, how he wants to orchestrate all of this, how he wants to put all this together. And I don't think James Harden's a willing participant. And later in the press conference, when he got asked about how you're going to sell James Harden, and he said, if you want to win, stick around. Who? What? Huh? At the 26:30 mark, I believe it was at the press conference, he was asked if he had talked to James Harden. He said he talked to James Harden. He was asked for the selling point of James Harden. He said they didn't get a chance to talk in depth, but they got a chance to talk. He said winning is always the selling point. That's got to be the goal. He was asked if he took the job because of Harden. He said he took the job because of Daryl Morey and Joshua Harris. He does not want James Harden back. And it really couldn't be any more obvious that he does not want James Harden back. you're going to be looking at a team in the upcoming season that's led by Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. And I'm here for it. I want to see how they do. I need to see Daryl Morey wave some kind of magic Morey wand and make this team better roster-wise without James Harden. And that ain't easy because they're tight when it comes to money. And Maxey has to take an all-star leap. And Joel Embiid needs to be more of a facilitator. He doesn't need to be Jokic, the mirror image of it. But something closer to that on the offensive end. Assist numbers need to go up. You know what I think is realistic? I think like 6-7 assists per game is a realistic thing for Joel Embiid. That's one less drive to the basket and foul. That's setting up somebody else. That's realistic, I think. When it comes to everything else in terms of this roster, that's where you got to see if you can make some other acquisition or you can make some trade. We've talked about it a lot already since the season ended. There's no huge name out there in free agency that makes you go, oh, this team now, they got this guy. Oh, they're going to win. There's guys out there that go, oh, okay, I can see how that would be better than Tobias Harris, or that would be better than James Harden. I can see that. Chris Middleton's one of those guys that's out there. Affording him is tough. Fred VanVleet is a name that raises my eyebrows. Certainly the history there with Nick Nurse. I don't know if it's a better move than James Harden, but I think it's a good move. I think it makes your roster better. It's all going to come down to how Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey play. That's the bottom line. Add some other pieces, and we'll talk. But it's going to take more than that. But the focal point is going to be those two guys. That's going to be the 1 and 1A on the rosters. But make no mistake about it, Nick Nurse does not want James Harden back. That's how I took that. A couple other things from the press conference I wanted to get to. Load management, we talked about. Winning tradition, we talked about. Oh, communication. So Nick Nurse was asked about ripping players publicly. I think it was Mike Sealski that asked him the question. And there have been guys, whether it have been Pascal Siakam or OG Anunoby, that have been, apparently were coming out after games saying, well, hold on, coach said that. He didn't even tell me that. But that's always a bad thing. I don't know what Nick Nurse's angle was on all of that, but in Philly, that ain't going to fly. Like, we love honesty and we love accountability, and you got to hold everybody accountable and all that stuff. But that ain't cool. Nobody in the workplace, in any workplace, wants your boss talking to somebody else about something that they should be telling you. Nobody wants that. If you're making $50,000 a year or you're making $40 million a year, nobody wants that. That's very disrespectful. Man to man, person to person, that is very disrespectful. So that's the one thing if Nick Nurse does here in Philadelphia, I won't like. He kind of sidestepped the question a little bit by talking about how communication is key. I don't know if he was acknowledging his mistake or sidestepping it really, but it wasn't a very forthcoming, honest answer I felt from him. He started off press conference by thanking Toronto, as you would assume. Did talk about how this team with Joel Embiid, it's a factor to have him here. Was asked about what's missing. He was asked about what's missing from this team. A couple of things that he said when it comes to crunch time. Got to stay healthy. Got to have some luck. And you have to figure out the grind. Those were the three things he talked about specifically about how this team needs to get past the unfortunate wall that has been in front of them in that second round. All three of those things, I feel like, relate to Joel Embiid. The one, when he talked about the bounces, like, really, dude? The quadruple doink? You got to bring that up to us right away? Huh? But staying healthy, obviously, Embiid. Ball bouncing your way, quadruple doink. And then figuring out the long grind. That's load management. All those things, for me, they go to Joel Embiid. Who was defending on the quadruple doink? Well, when the shot went off, it was Joel Embiid. All three things that he mentioned are, I think, direct correlations to JoJo. It's all going to – the Sixers are going to go as far as Joel Embiid will take them. Let me tell you about Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven Singer has been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love. So when it comes to that beautiful piece of diamond jewelry that you want to buy, head to the other corner of 8th and Walnut and let a real jewelry expert set you up and make you feel like a real family member with the perfect price. where you get taken care of with the perfect price each and every day at Steven Singer Jewelers. Now, what's the perfect price? Well, other jewelers are marking things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you, make it feel like you won something. Oh, you're a great negotiator. Steven says, don't worry about that. This is pressure-free at Steven Singer Jewelers with that perfect price. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, home of the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Let me tell you about Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped, manscaped.com. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Manscaped.com, ladies and gentlemen, where you get the Platinum Package 4.0. It includes their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and yes, they come with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks, so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. So try Manscaped at manscaped.com. Join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and their skin-safe technology. How about the people at Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll love their tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So try Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's get into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start it off on the Jacob Media YouTube page because Gabriel, I'm going to say Gabriel, is asking me questions very specific about the Phillies. Before you wrap up, I love that. Can I get your take on the Phillies? What your thoughts are on swapping Stott and Turner in the infield? Trey Turner has left a lot to be desired at shortstop. I think it's more personal for a player to change positions in the field than it is for them to be moved to the batting order. So I would not make that move. I think you brought Trey Turner here to be your shortstop. I think for the most part, he's been a very good shortstop. This year, he has not. He hasn't done anything well. I think that's the next step. Like right before you bench him, which you're not doing, you're changing his position. I don't think the Phillies are going to do that. I am not in favor of doing that. I'm changing his spot in the batting order, and I'm seeing how that goes. Maybe a little bit more confidence at the plate helps him with confidence in the field. It's still the same person. They're not exclusive. I'm not making that move. I will acknowledge, I will admit the fact that he has been terrible at shortstop so far this year for the Phillies, but I'm not making that move. I'm moving him down in the order before I do anything, and then I'm seeing how that goes for the foreseeable future, but I'm not making that move, Gabriel. Let's get over to the Farzy Show channel and see how everyone's doing over here. Oh, we popping. What's going on, everybody? Jay Owen, it's me and me alone. Hello, Jay Owen. Go Sixers. Thankfully, we have the Union. That was a text I got yesterday. Go Union, from someone who I know doesn't watch the Union. But now I know that they've started to watch the Union, which is great. April! Good morning, April. Go Sixers. Hello again. Sean Kilrain, good morning. Sean Kilrain. So you're telling me it's a good thing I didn't watch the game. Sean, it's a phenomenal thing that you didn't watch the game. Sean Gillespie, tired of the Phillies? Yeah. We're not supposed to be tired of the Phillies just past Memorial Day. We're supposed to be like edge of our seats. Sean Kilrain. Would you go out and get another hitter? Also, would you trade Nola with his recent outing and play? Thoughts? No, I don't. Like, I wouldn't trade Nola right now. Here's a realization. I think Jesus Aguilar became a free agent recently. The Phillies could get an acquisition, could sign him as a first baseman. I'm only familiar with him because of his time with the Marlins, as I think most people are. But I don't think that's happening. I think they're going to be patient with bringing in Derek Hall. But I don't see any big acquisitions being made. I mean, look at the acquisitions they've made so far. I mean, who you got? Dylan Covey? Okay. We're doing great. Ellis? Bringing in Ellis? Swing at the first pitch in your Phillies debut? Fly out to center? Okay. These are the acquisitions you're making. There's no other heroes out there. It's the old Rick Pitino line. Like, he got really specific with Larry Bird and what do you call it? What's his name? Kevin McHale. But they're now walking through that door, folks. There's nobody walking through that door to help the Phillies save the Phillies right now. The only people that can save the Phillies are the Phillies right now. Those are the only people that can do it. There's nobody hidden behind free agency or waiver claim, whatever, pickup behind any door. There's nobody waiting behind any door to just trot in and save the day. Bryce Harper's got to hit home runs. Nick Castellanos has to hit home runs. Kyle Schwarber needs to hit home runs in the month of June like he has over the last couple of years. That's what needs to happen. Aaron Nola needs to go back to a guy that's going to get in the top 5 votes of Cy Young Awards like he has twice in his career. Zach Wheeler's going to have to dominate like he did through most of last year. But that's it. The guys that they actually spent $243 million on are actually going to have to perform. This was such a tease in yesterday's game. Trey Turner gets on base with that single in the first inning. He had third base stolen. He would have been safe, even if it wasn't a throwing. He would have been safe at third. Just having that speed on the base paths can cause havoc for a defense. If he's even a 275 hitter, he's getting on base. He becomes so much more of a problem. This Phillies offense looks totally different. They're way more consistent if he's just a 275 hitter. Ugh. There's no one coming through that door. Anyway, would you go out? No, I wish I could go out there and do anything. Sean Gillespie, hot mustard Doritos are amazing. Are those a new thing? Hot mustard Doritos. I'll have one. Yeah, sure. Target, Walmart, Instacart. Okay. All right. I'll have to buy those for the missus. She, any type of new Doritos, she's got to try. April, it's going to be a long season. Yeah, no lies detected. Sean Gillespie, great ownership in that they paid Nurse a lot of money. I agree. Sean Kilrain, hello again. Can we see this team play like the 2001 team? It's a good dream. I wish. Mihai Sanchez. What's up, Mihai Sanchez? Well, so much for the 4th highest payroll. At least the Eagles training camp is next month. Now the town and Nick Sirianni, town of 2 Nicks, Nick Sirianni and Nick Nurse. Didn't even think of that. To get past the second round, make damn adjustments. Sean Gillespie, I agree. Mihai Sanchez, the baseball gods are punishing us. Are punching us for the decision to induct Scott Rowland. I think Placido Polanco should get to the Phillies wall. 290 batting average, 340 on base percentage, 6 to 7 seasons. Good guy. We traded for Rowland. Yeah, I love Placido Polanco. You know what's a negative thing, though, on Placido Polanco, though, is that we had to Ed Wade had to trade Placido Polanco in order for Charlie Manuel to play Chase Utley every day. Polanco was a really good he's a really good second baseman, but he was a good third baseman, too. But he didn't want to play third. That's the way I remember it. Didn't want to play third, wanted to play second. They couldn't have him occupy the same space. And also, what a huge melon that guy had. Polanco, man. Huge melon. Anyway, April, there was zero chance of him answering about Harden without talking more to Joel. That's probably fair. Good point, April. Shankira, I want to see a one-on-one game with Joker and Embiid like back in the day with Hoop It Up. Oh, my God. Sean Kilrain, Nolan Smith unleashing the perfect ghost move. Can't wait to see his kid play. Neither can I. Jim, what are you saying? I've been holding this in, but the Ben Brown, David Robertson trade is killing us this year. Brown is on the verge of a call-up, and Robertson is pitching for the Mets. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's one thing I did look at. As I saw, because he was what? At the time, he was one of their top prospects. He was like obviously one of their top prospects. But was he their third, PJ? Was he like their third prospect? And they traded him for David Robertson, which you knew was a rental. I had two problems with last year's deadline, and one worked out. Brandon Marsh obviously worked out when you traded Logan O'Hoppe, who all of a sudden started pitching really well, started playing really well. And you got Brandon Marsh here, who it looks like it worked out for both sides. O'Hoppe unfortunately got hurt for the Angels. He's not playing. He's done for the year, I think. And then you trade Noah Syndergaard, or you trade for Noah Syndergaard. And for that, you give up Mickey Moniak, who all of a sudden is having some breakout month with the Angels this year. He's got like 4 home runs, batting like 330 or something like that. Like, what the hell? He might have more home runs this month than he did in his entire Phillies career. So that's that. And then the other one, the one that we just mentioned is Ben Brown for David Robertson. Luke Vogt got released from the Brewers. I'll have to look up more on Luke Vogt. That's interesting. PJ, what are you saying now? That's on the player to find out. Ben Brown's, but Brown would be a better option than Covey, Falter, and Sanchez for the 5th starter. Yeah, I don't disagree. Jim saying Moniak was always meant to be in California. I couldn't agree more with that, by the way. I've talked to Mickey Moniak a number of times, and I walked away as a fan. Like, I root for this guy. Like, this guy's working his ass off. I interviewed him when he was in Reading, and he's really putting on weight. And just the whole time, the vibe was just like, he's a Cali kid, man. He's a Cali kid. And I didn't disagree with what he said when he went out to Los Angeles about how he never really got a fair opportunity in Philly. And I agree with that. People are like, oh, he played in Philly. He didn't get a Bryson Stott type of playing opportunity. Oh, we should have played better. Well, Bryson Stott didn't play better. Bryson Stott didn't play well, but he just, hey, sink or swim, kid, have at it. You have to have that. Sometimes people just have to have that. And I think Mickey Moniak is one of those guys who's having that opportunity right now in LA, for the Angels. That's what he's having right now. And I want to give you the updated numbers on him while we're on the subject, because it's going to bother me if I don't get it right. First thing I see is a breakout year for Mickey Moniak. As of last night, Mickey Moniak. Yeah, Mickey Moniak has already hit more home runs as an Angel than he has a Philadelphia Philly. Yeah, because he only had 1 home run as a Philly. He hit 3 last year in 19 games. He's got 4 already this year in 14 games. And he's batting .327 with a .340 on base percentage. I'm a big believer in, well, it wouldn't happen here. A lot of times you can say that about players. Well, it wouldn't happen here. I would have loved to have seen it happen here in Philly, and I think it could have happened here in Philly. Cali kid or no Cali kid. If you just would have released the hounds like you did with Bryson Stott, maybe you're talking about a different story with Mickey Moniak. Anyway, not that your center fielder has been really killing you this year. Brandon Marsh has been fine. Been really good at times and batting really well ever since he got that shoulder inflammation. That's the chat check, everybody. Thanks. Appreciate you guys chiming in on the program as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies back at it tonight, 7:05 start time, South Philadelphia, for a Friday night edition of Phillies Nationals baseball. On the mound for the Phillies, Zach Wheeler will look to build off his wildly successful start, his best start of the season against the that's not him. That's somebody else. Against the Atlanta Braves. 8 scoreless innings of work for Zach Wheeler. Best start of the season by far. Let's go for back. Let's get greedy. Let's get greedy, Zach Wheeler. Let's get greedy, especially when it comes to your strikeouts. Let's get into the double digits again. 12 strikeouts against the Braves last week. 8 innings, scoreless, just a 3-hit performance. Josiah Gray will get the start for the Washington Nationals, who are just ahead of the Phillies or just behind the Phillies in the standings. Josiah Gray gets the start for the Nationals. He is coming off a very brief outing against Kansas City Royals. 4 innings, 2 earned runs on 2 hits. He did give up a home run. He did issue 3 walks. Here's my note to the Phillies. Josiah Gray has 12 walks in his last 3 games. Take some pitches. Take some pitches. He's issuing free passes. Let's not be all crazy and try to change the game with one swing of the bat, especially early on. Trey Turner should be batting 7th. Bryson Stott should be batting 1st. Brandon Marsh should be batting 2nd. Take some pitches, folks. That's my advice to the Phillies today. NBA Finals. Oh, no, wait. OTAs. The one thing I teased before the show. Friend of the show, Nakobe Dean had the green dot on his helmet, making it officially official. He'll be the signal caller for the Eagles defense. He'll be your starting middle linebacker. It's all coming to plan. Let's hope that is something that'll be a very positive thing for the Phillies, and I think or the Eagles, and I think it will be a positive thing for the Philadelphia Eagles. Also, hat tip to our friend over there at Philly Talk Podcast, Nolan Smith. I'm sorry, this was Green Light Podcast. Nolan Smith was on the Green Light Podcast where he was asked about weather, playing in the weather with Chris Long, and he said, I don't care. I am telling you right now, this guy is going to be a more immediate, impactful Brandon Graham. And that's a very big compliment. Brandon Graham figured it out. He's been great for the Eagles since he figured it out. And since he's figured it out, he has been a joy to watch. But Nolan Smith, as I told you before, we're not going to have to wait a long time for him to get a 10-sack season. Excuse me. And this guy is going to make you feel great about possibly having not only another Brandon Graham, but another Hassan Reddick. I feel it in my bones. This guy is going to be a very impactful player in his rookie year. I look forward to that. So OTAs obviously going on at the NovaCare Complex. And then finally, let's get into the NBA Finals. I mentioned earlier, Nikola Jokic becomes the first player in 21 years to make his NBA Finals debut and record a triple-double. That is pretty special for him. Yes, the way that the Nuggets have played over the last handful of years with Nikola Jokic is exactly how I'd like to see the Sixers develop their offense. So hopefully that's something that's going to happen. But last night, it was pretty much all Nuggets. There was a 11-0 run in the fourth quarter by the Miami Heat, but that was it. It was a dominant performance by the Denver Nuggets. Never really lost control of this game. In the fourth quarter, thanks to that run, the Heat made the Heat made a good run, but it was all Nuggets for the most part in this game. Bam Adebayo was bigger offensively than I expected. 26 points. Joker still got his. I really wanted to see that matchup, and for the most part, it was interesting. But Jokic just passed around Bam Adebayo throughout the entire game. 14 assists to go with his 27 points and 10 rebounds. So pretty much a wild one. I will be back with you guys tonight on the Jacob Media YouTube channel for Phillies postgame. Let's talk about a win tonight. Let's talk about a 5-walk win for the Phillies where they win 7-3. And you feel comfortable. Those 3 runs are on the bullpen, so we still have something to bitch about after the game. But let's go 7 strong from Zach Wheeler tonight with 1 run. Let's go with that, and it's a cheap home run. 7 strong. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and for the people on the podcast, thank you so much. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. See you guys tonight after the Phillies game, and I'll be back with you guys on Monday morning. See ya.